Good morning. Today is March 18th, 2025, and the Board of Supervisors meeting will begin closer to 10 a.m. when there is a quorum of supervisors to open the meeting. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors. It is Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. We will call this meeting to order. I want to announce that we are just now calling the meeting to order. Madera County Board of Supervisors attended the opening of the Madera Community Hospital. And so that's why we weren't here. We didn't have a quorum. County Council, are there any additions to the agenda?
Madam Chair, there are no additions to the agenda.
And I will note that we will go into closed session after our regular session. At this time, we will open and close in memory of. Do any of my colleagues wish to open the meeting in memory of someone? I'd like to take a moment to honor Madera County Public Works employee Craig Wagner, who passed away suddenly on Tuesday, March 11th. Craig was a senior engineer with the Public Works Department, previously worked for the county in the former engineering department from 2002 to 2005. And then he returned to county service in 2019 to work for the Madera County Public Works Department. With his long history and experience in the engineering field, his focus was primarily on water infrastructure, improvement projects for the various small water systems throughout Madera County, and managing a team of engineers to deliver these projects for the communities that rely on these systems. He was known for his regular supply of amazing baked goods prepared by his loving wife, Jane, and for his friendly demeanor. Craig's impact on the department and his significant contributions to public works and the constituents of Madera County will be greatly missed. So we will open and close in memory of Craig. Gil.
Chair, if I may, real quick, I just want to piggyback on that. As a staffer, Craig was one of the first individuals that I got to know working here at Madera County, and I just underscore his friendly demeanor. Just a big guy, but a friendly guy. Just one of those welcoming souls. He will definitely be missed.
Thank you. At this time, we will have our invocation by Pastor Josh Blair from Central Valley Church. And I will ask Micah, will you lead us in the flag salute?
Let's bow. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the honor and the privilege, God, to be here today. Lord, I ask for your blessing upon this meeting, on our Board of Supervisors, the weight and the responsibility they carry, God, to be our financial stewards, leaders, and those who make wise decisions for us. We ask for a spirit of wisdom, guidance, and direction over them and over our entire county, Lord. We love you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States.
Thank you very much. At this time, we will open public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter not listed under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record. Do we have any public comment? Do we have any online?
None online.
Okay, at this time, I will close public comment.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. We do have one. Go ahead, Raquel.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Raquel White. I'm with the Construction Industry Force Account Council, also known as CFAC. CFAC is a nonprofit organization with decades of experience ensuring compliance with the Public Contract Code and advocating for fair, transparent public contracting. Our mission is to uphold a level playing field for all contractors while serving as a resource for public agencies on bidding requirements and best practices. The County of Madera has been a member of the California Uniform Construction Cost Accounting Act for 25 years. making it subject to specific contracting requirements, including the 75,000 force account limit for self-performed work. However, on January 10th, 2025, the California Uniform Construction Cost Accounting Commission determined that the county violated Public Contract Code Section 22032A by exceeding this limit. This violation raises serious concerns regarding fair competition, transparency, and the responsible use of taxpayers' dollars. Public contracting laws exist to ensure that all qualified contractors have an opportunity to compete for work, fostering a fair and competitive marketplace while safeguarding public funds. When these rules are not followed, it creates an unfair advantage, discourages local businesses from participating in public projects, and
Madam Chair,
erodes public trust.
I got a call point of order. This item is on the agenda, so you're, ma'am, you need to hold off on this item until 6I.
Yeah, I apologize for that. Thank you, Raquel. We will call for public comment during that item. Thank you very much. No, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. Do any of my colleagues wish to pull or discuss any item? Do we have any public comment on the consent calendar?
None online.
I will close public comment.
Move to approve?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Portress.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
thank you. Item 6A.
Board of Supervisors Department presentation of a proclamation honoring Red Cross Month, March 2025.
So, yeah, we have a proclamation here for the American Red Cross. It is American Red Cross Month. So I want to take a quick moment to thank all of our volunteers, the board of directors for Central Valley American Red Cross, and all those involved with our disaster relief. Fire season is just around the corner, and so recognizing these folks that get up in the middle of the night, whether it's a house fire or some other disaster, you know, it's important to me. It's important to the residents of Madera County. So just want to, I guess, read the proclamation here, at least portion of it. So now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Board of Supervisors of Madera County does hereby proclaim March 2025 as Red Cross Month. We encourage all citizens of Madera County to reach out and support its humanitarian mission. So I do believe we have a couple members from our Red Cross team here, so we're hopeful you might join us up for a quick photo, or do we want to do public comment first?
Yeah, we'll do public comment.
Hi, thank you so much to the board for this recognition. My name is Taylor Poisel, and I'm representing the Red Cross today. Red Cross Month is an opportunity for us to celebrate those volunteers who make our mission possible. I'm joined with a member of our Central Valley Board of Directors, Gerald Goldstein, and our Community Disaster Program Manager for Mariposa, Madera County's Tiffany Cavell. This is a celebration of the work of the Red Cross. We've been serving the Central Valley for more than 100 years, and our work and relief efforts are needed now more than ever. You mentioned the home fires, the wildfires. It's volunteers who make our mission possible, and we wouldn't be able to do that without them. So Red Cross Month is to share awareness about the work, but also to celebrate those people who get up in the middle of the night to provide relief and hope to our neighbors. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so we'll head on down to take a photo. Hey, Madam Clerk, item 6B.
Sheriff's and Coroner's Office. Presentation and request for comment regarding California Truth, Transparency Review of Unjust Transfers and Holds and Values Act AB 2792. Any county that has provided the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency access to individuals in custody during the previous year is to hold a community forum to provide information to the public about ICE's access to individuals and to receive and consider public comment.
Good morning.
Good morning, supervisors. Assistant Sheriff Brian Esteves, overseeing the jail. I'm here to talk about the Truth Act and report our numbers for the year as required. So basically, Assembly Bill 2792 established this back in 2017, and basically establishing mechanisms for inmates to consent or refuse to being interviewed by ICE, and establish requirements for notification of inmates and their attorneys upon receipt of detainers, and similar notifications if ICE is advised of their release. And this was required to start back in 2018. Access to ICE means responding to any ICE holds that we receive, notifications, or if we actually transfer someone to ICE, providing notification to ICE in advance of the public that the individual is going to be released at a certain date and time, and providing ICE with non-publicly available information from our databases, such as home addresses, other stuff that they could use to enforce immigration law. Also allowing ICE to interview folks in our jail and providing ICE information regarding dates and times of their probation appointments and hearings after release. So the Values Act basically outlines that we have to follow Senate Bill SB 54, which restricts the ability of local law enforcement to cooperate with ICE unless under very limited circumstances. And basically it established a list of qualifying crimes in which, once we get an inquiry, if they meet that, we can actually turn somebody over. So basically that would include individuals that have been convicted of a serious or violent felony. Individuals have been convicted of a felony punishable by imprisonment in a state prison, and the individual is currently on a registrant or arson or sex registrant list, and the individual has been convicted within the past 5 years of a wobbler or the past 10 years of a felony, of certain felonies. So to report on numbers for last year, we booked over 4,000 people. We received 65 detainers, and those come automatically after an individual's been fingerprinted from the federal government as someone that might be a person of interest. If it turns out that that person meets the criteria under SB 54, usually the federal government will follow up with a memo laying out, hey, this person meets SB 54 under these certain criteria. We'll review their criminal history in our files, and if we agree with their assessment, then we'll communicate that yes, we have that person in our custody, and coordinate with them if they wish to. As you can see, in 2023, there wasn't much interest to coordinate with local officials on picking these individuals up, and so we only turned over one person to ICE that year. That's my presentation, unless you have any questions.
Do any of my colleagues have any questions, comments? And then I'll open it up to public comment. Any online?
None online.
Well, thank you for the presentation. This is not an action item, correct? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 6C.
Social Services Department, discussion and consideration to adopt the Madera County Local Aging and Disability Actions Plan.
Thank you, Chairman Gonzalez and members of the board. My name is Mei Wang. I'm the Deputy Director for Adult Services at Madera Department of Social Services. Our recommendation today is for the board to adopt the Madera County Local Aging and Disability Action Plan. On February 21st, 2023, the California Department of Aging released the Local Aging Disability Action Planning Grant Program, of which time our director, Deborah Martinez, advocated for us to apply, which made us one of 36 communities to be awarded this grant. On September 12, 2023, the board entered into an agreement with CDA to implement the Local Aging Disability Act plan. And during the past year and a half, our department have worked with San Diego State University for excellence in agency and longevity to ensure the voices of each region in our county were accounted for. I would like to recognize a few communities and individuals who made this possible. First of all, I want to recognize Chowchilla Senior Center. Also like to recognize Frank Bergen Center, Rancho Senior Center, Sierra Senior Center. They're really important because they hosted a lot of our events during the past year. I would also like to thank those members of the public who participated in the community survey, seniors, residents of Coachella, Ranchos, Oakhurst, and the city of Madera for their participation in the survey, as well as their participation in the work that we did here in the community. And I also would like to acknowledge some key partners in advisory committee. First of all is Robert Poitis, County Supervisor, District 3. He was really involved. And a couple of very important key figures, Olga Salcido Garcia, City of Madera, Stacy Weisner, City of Chowchilla, Maria Barragan and Andrea Martinez from Madera Behavioral Health, Krista Riggs, Madera County Library, awesome job. All right, Sandy Moore from the United Domestic Work District 4, Sharon Diaz from Child and Family Policy Institute of California, Hillary Bennett and Jamie Sharma, Fresno and Madera Agency on Aging, Elizabeth Campos and Adele Maciel de Corona from Calviva Health, Cheryl Lingerie from Anthem Blue Cross, Michelle Matter, Jocelyn Portopapas, and Fernando Reyes from the San Diego State University, formerly and retired Deputy Director Steve Duckworth. He's no longer with us, but he's here with us all the time in spirit. And Paul Yankee, Ashley Monk, our specialist, and Sherry de Guzman, who is our analyst who coordinated and made all the arrangements for this to be possible. And then last but not least, our wonderful director, Deborah Martinez, for her leadership, advocacy, and support of LADA. And so I'm not deleting that because she was a big supporter in that, and she made sure that we got this done so that the people of Madera's voices can be heard. And so for our presentation today, I'm going to bring Michelle Matter up here from the San Diego University of Excellence and Aging and Longevity. She's going to do a quick PowerPoint presentation so you guys can see what we've done the past year.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michelle Matter. I'm the Director of Aging for the San Diego State University Center for Excellence in Aging and Longevity. And I'm here with my colleagues, Fernando Reyes and Jocelyn Protopapis. And we're honored to present the Madera County Local Aging and Disability Action Plan. Madera County, like much of California, is experiencing a significant shift in its aging population. And as the number of older adults continues to grow, it's more important than ever to ensure the communities are prepared to support residents of all ages and abilities. Our team was honored to work with the Department of Social Services to create this age-friendly plan. We have extensive experience across multiple municipalities, developing 9 age-friendly plans across California. Through research, strategic planning, and direct community engagement, we work to create sustainable, inclusive environments where people can thrive at every stage of life. The local aging and disability action plan is a critical step in aligning Madera County with the California Master Plan for Aging. As Mi Wing mentioned, this initiative was made possible through a grant from the California Department of Aging. What makes this plan truly impactful is its foundation, a collaborative process centered on the voices and experiences of the community. And over the past year, we engaged residents, caregivers, stakeholders to develop a shared vision and set meaningful goals and outline actionable action steps to make a more age and disability friendly community. By investing in this effort now, Madera County is not only preparing for the demographic changes, but also actively shaping a future where people of all ages and abilities can live with dignity, independence, and opportunity. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Fernando to discuss what an age-friendly community looks like and why it's essential for Madera County's future.
Thank you, Michelle. An age and disability-friendly community is one where all residents, regardless of age or ability, can live independently with dignity and feel like they belong. The goal is to create spaces where people can thrive, stay active, and remain connected regardless of any challenges they may face. The World Health Organization developed 8 domains of livability to guide these efforts, focusing on areas such as outdoor spaces, transportation, social inclusion, housing, communication, and healthcare. These domains ensure that people of all ages and abilities can fully participate and enjoy their communities. For Madera County, this is particularly important because of the significant demographic shifts Michelle mentioned. With the growing number of older adults, the county faces increased demand for community support. As the population ages, the likelihood of experiencing disabilities also rises. This plan is vital because it addresses the shared needs of both older adults and individuals with disabilities, ensuring that Madera County is well equipped to support its residents now and in the future. The development of this plan was a truly collaborative effort, bringing together key stakeholders who contributed to their leadership, expertise, and lived experiences. Our team at SDSU worked closely with Madera County staff, providing research, planning, and community engagement expertise throughout the process. The Madera County Department of Social Services played a critical role providing leadership and coordination. And residents were at the heart of this effort, sharing their lived experiences, insights, and priorities to ensure the plan accurately reflects the needs of the community. And the advisory committee, made up of 8 entities, including government, healthcare, and other organizations who offered invaluable guidance, provided unique perspectives and expertise to help shape this plan. We also recognize the importance of Madera County's large Latino community. To ensure accessibility, all our marketing materials were available in both English and Spanish. And during our 10 community events held across different areas in the county, such as in the city of Madera, Ranchos, Oakhurst, and Chowchilla. We partner with promotoras to provide translation service in Spanish, making sure that language was not a barrier for participants. These events also included diverse groups such as unhoused individuals, people living with disabilities, and caregivers, ensuring that all voices were represented in this process. With that, I'll now hand it over to Jocelyn to walk us through the blueprint for the development of the plan.
Good morning, and thank you, Fernando. So I'm going to walk us through the blueprint for creating a livable community that SEAL uses when helping to develop the LADAP. So there's 6 steps in the plan, but what you'll find with all 6 of these steps is there's a robust community engagement at every step of the way. The first step is our policy and program scan. The policy and program scan is a look at what is already going on in Madera that helps to support an age-friendly community. The next step is a community baseline survey. This survey was encouraged to be participated from older adults, people living with disabilities, and their caregivers. The next step in the process is our key informant interviews. In Madera, we conducted 11 key informant interviews. These were primarily with individuals who worked with people who have disabilities or older adults. And these were city employees for the city of Madera and also county employees. The next step in our process is the listening and learning sessions. The listening and learning sessions are where we take the information that we've gathered from the policy scan, from the baseline survey, and from our key informant interviews. We go back to the community and we try to get more qualitative information to help us build out and understand more about what's going on in our community here in the county. The next step in the process is the action planning sessions. And these action planning sessions are, again, where we take all of the information that we've gathered from the first 4 steps, and we go to the community with a vision and a goal for the domains that Fernando was talking about and have them help us to create actionable steps to meet those vision and goals. I'll go a little bit more into that in just a moment. And the final step is that we help to write and create the action plan, and then we present it to you folks. So that's where we are today. Just to give you kind of a zoomed in version of what the blueprint looks like in action. For our policy scan, we reviewed 12 policies and programs in the county and the cities of Madera. For the community baseline survey, we were very excited about this survey. This was an online survey. It was also in a paper format. We had 77 questions and 381 participants across the county. So that was excellent. For our listening and learning sessions and our action planning sessions, we went to 5 different locations across the county to try to engage the different populations from each community, which was a very exciting process for us because every different community, while there were challenges and things that are going well, there were also a lot of different voices to be heard and a lot of things that made each area very unique. So going to every place was really important. During the listening and learning sessions, we had 183 participants. And then during the action planning sessions, we had 136 participants. So what did we do with all this information? We created the action plan. The action plan is divided into, there's actually 6 domains, which I'll talk about in a minute. For each of those 6 domains, we created a vision. The vision is the desired outcomes and the future aspirations for the county of Madera. We also provided a definition based on what we heard from the community about what that domain will look like. We also wanted to highlight some of the community assets because, again, when you go into a community and you hear what's really going well, I think it's also important to highlight what's already in place to help support communities. We also then took all that information and we created a section called What We Heard. And this, again, is the key information from the research and the inputs in the community. And then we developed goals. So let me show you what this looks like in the actual plan. You can see here, this is an example from transportation. In transportation, we have the vision underneath and then the definition. We highlight the community assets that we found during the listening and learning sessions and the survey. What we heard provides a more in-depth qualitative outlook on what we heard from the community. And then you can see on the far side, there's our goals. And then underneath of it are the action steps that our community provided back to us to make the action plan a reality. These were the 6 domains. So Fernando covered that the World Health Organization highlights 8 domains. We sort of narrowed it to 6 when we were working with the county. These were the areas that were highlighted as critically important. I'm not going to go through, for the sake of time, every single one of our domains, but in front of you here is the vision that was created for Madera for the first 3 domains, and then some of the goals, and then the action steps are actually written out in the action plan if you'd like to see those. One thing, and then these are the second 6. One of the things that we heard when we were here was some of the challenges and concerns with healthcare access. We were really excited this morning when we looked at the news and saw the opening of the hospital, so that was really exciting. Another one I just wanted to highlight was communication and information. What we found when we went out in the community is there already are a lot of programs and a lot of things that the county is doing. Sometimes the biggest barrier is people just not knowing how to get access to it or even knowing it exists. So communication was actually one of the domains that became critically important when we actually looked at what the community had to say. So the next step in the process, SEAL is very excited to be back in Madera. So thank you all for allowing us to be back again. Our next step is that we are going to go back to the senior centers where we conducted our listening and learning sessions and our action planning sessions and reconnect with the community. This is an opportunity for us to celebrate the plan and talk about for our community members how their ideas have been implemented into the plan. It's also an opportunity to show our members of our community how they can be meaningfully engaged in advocacy for the plan. and to share with their neighbors. And with that, I will take we'll take any questions that you guys may have.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions, comments from the board? Supervisor Rogers.
Thank you for the presentation. And for those young people out here in the audience, unlike my colleague Rob Poitras and I,
Speak for yourself.
we're young at heart. We're young at heart. You know, age is something you can't avoid. If you're here living and breathing, you're growing older every minute, and you're not where you think you're going to be when you arrive there. So just keep that in mind as you go through this process, and respect those who have grown older, because you'll get there soon enough, and you'll like to have that as well. Just a thought. Something that has come to mind recently, due to the death of Gene Hackman, who was an icon in my era. Somebody says, "Who is that?" I know. He was a great actor, and not just because of who he was, what he did, but because he was a human being with needs, and emphasized to us the importance of having somebody watch over you when you reach that particular stage of life. Is there an opportunity for people who do not have others in their life consistently to register with the county in some form and ask for periodic wellness checks?
Deborah can elaborate, but if she wants to, but I will make a comment on that. And that is actually one of the things that we will be discussing as we move forward. We do recognize that that is a need in our area. And in our action plan, that is going to be a goal, is to establish some form of a support system so that people can reach out to those groups so that they are not alone when they are in need of someone.
Right. Thank you for that. I know one of the important things to me as I grow older is my independence. I want to live in my home. I want to be independent. I strive to work toward the ability to do that physically. And it isn't always easy. It becomes harder and harder. As a man who has always been able to do whatever I wanted to do, strength wise or whatever, it's very difficult to grow older and be limited in that regard. And so this opportunity to have someone check on you occasionally, making sure you're getting the medications you need, what have you. Not that I have that right now, but I could in the future. And I'm just thinking of other people that I've known who had no one in their life. And there was one gentleman in Chowchilla, I remember, Mr. Lewis, who I would call occasionally just to see how he was doing. My wife would deliver cookies and what have you for Christmas and various occasions to make sure he knew we cared about him. He was a very independent guy. I mean, and he was 93. And so we all need somebody at some point in our life. I think that's a really important component. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I have something. I wanted to thank you guys for the comprehensive roadmap that you guys have done, and I wanted to thank you for the manner in which you went about doing it. 180 something participants, so almost 400 surveys in a county of our size. That's really great. Really
Fantastic.
really happy about that participation and the locations, because so often when we conduct these surveys or when we outsource to have these types of things done, they're concentrated in the city of Madera, and this county is much larger. So to hear that it was done in the Ranchos in Eastern Madera County, Oakhurst, it makes me feel good, because like I said, too often we concentrate that down. As far as the effects of these things, I'm going to have to defer to my eldest policymaker on the board regarding the effectiveness of this. But thank you guys. I really do appreciate it.
Where am I?
Supervisor Poitras.
All right, thank you.
Your pudding's in the back.
Okay, good. My ice cream, very good. Thank you. First of all, I'd just like to say that our crew here from San Diego State, not only were they here a number of months and really dove into our community, but they even attended our Christmas parade in downtown Madera. I was able to run into them, and they saved a place for me unknowingly. And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, you're okay. That's great. Anyway, so thank you for being there. But in the study so far, maybe I'd just like to hear a couple of like major takeaways, maybe one or two that you discovered through your research thus far.
Oh, no, okay. I was going to say we've done a couple of these different age-friendly plans, mostly in smaller municipalities, like in cities and things like that. So, like you were sharing, what was really cool for me was being able to go out to Oakhurst and hear some of the, the challenges people face out there and feeling socially isolated, and how that looks really different for what social isolation looks like in the city or in Chowchilla. And so for me, this wasn't necessarily a finding, but it was just a really unique experience to work with the county and then try to craft a plan where you're still able to address all these needs despite the geographical differences of the area, the demographic differences. So I really enjoyed working on this plan because I think it was such a great opportunity to see how you can make something that fits so many different people and their needs.
I wanted to share a quick story. Someone that we met in Ranchos actually reached out to me on Facebook a couple weeks ago and said, "I heard you were all coming back." She's 92, so she found us on Facebook. She sent us a message, and she said she was going to share this information with her neighbors. And I thought, really, that was what we intended to do in communities. And you mentioned this about how do you get connected with people, and we talked a lot about that, getting to know your neighbors. One of the unique parts about being in Madera County that we haven't seen in other cities is that connection that people have, especially through the senior centers. At the senior centers, that's where they get their information. We asked questions about, what would happen if you didn't show up to the senior center today? Oh, I'd have 4 or 5 people calling to check on me. And so one of the things we really wanted to highlight in the plan is the importance of those senior centers and making sure that people that are isolated have some connection in some way, whether that's through virtual programming or being able to check on neighbors, provide them with meals or conversation. And so a lot of what we wrote into this plan was about that connectivity and how that can be expanded.
Great, thank you.
I just have one last thing, and I even wrote it down. And I forgot to mention it. And I think, Jocelyn, I think you're the one that talked about it, but it's about communication about these programs, because far too often we have so many programs and services in our county across all departments, public health, behavioral health, social services, and other departments that are great programs, but we struggle with communication. We struggle with letting people know about these services, where they're going to be, how they benefit them. And, we can develop the greatest programs and services, but if the people don't know about them or, we're not going to be effective. And so I really want to stress communication, marketing, those types of things over and above the programs themselves, because I've seen it far too often that people just don't know about them, whether it's, dial a ride or, any of our, Madera County Connection services, meals for seniors, all those things. I think a lot of people just don't know about them. So I would like for you guys to highlight that and bring that to the forefront above all the other programs and services, because it's just that important.
Letty, I had one more question.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yeah, in regards to being connected and medical attention, I know they have the devices that you can wear, medical alert, or you push a button, what have you. And I'm not sure exactly about how widely available that is. I know for some people it's cost prohibitive. I've known one lady that fell out of her bed, couldn't get up, and she laid there for 2 days. And somebody finally found her, and they were able to get her out. But that's so sad to hear stuff like that. And it's because she couldn't afford that medical alert. And a friend of mine decided he was going to buy it for her. So that was really a cool thing to do. But what do we have in that regard as far as a program for availability of that kind of thing?
Currently, what we did for Adult Protective Services last year is we actually pre-ordered some devices. And so we have some of them at our office. And when we do come across situations like that, we are giving those out. And those do not have a cost associated with those. We've been exploring different devices, and we actually were able to obtain some that did not require a monthly fee. We are also exploring, my team is looking at how we can connect them to whatever services they have already, either on their phone. Apple makes some good technology. They can have a watch on them. And, technology has been really good. It's just a matter about educating them and getting them the right devices so that they can, be safe.
Right. Thank you so much. That aids in independence again, people want to be independent. I know, is that a common theme? They want to be able to do what they've always done, be in their community, be in their home. And
Yeah,
I'm seeing a lot of heads shaking there.
Yeah, Deborah Martinez, Director of Social Services. So connectivity and being able to feel that they're part of the community, that it's not about what I can't do anymore, it's about what I can still do, right?
Yes.
So whether they can function with the technology or not, they appreciate a phone call,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And so we had actually applied for another grant and gotten some monies, and that's how we got the devices for APS. But one of the things that was a barrier is actually connectivity to the internet. Now, with that becoming more economical to a lot more folks, and the diversity of that availability and different programs that are coming to our community to make that available, it's going to be really helpful because a lot of these little devices are actually not expensive. It's having the connectivity that's the issue, which is why it was difficult for us to find some that didn't require that subscription because we couldn't continue to pay the internet for an unknown period of time. So that's why it got cost constraints. But connectivity and communication is a big deal. So yes, we are very much aware, and we do have our agent blind and disabled Medi-Cal program. One of the things to do is, besides our adult protective services, is look to see if we can have the scope of being able to check on those folks, not just in terms of their renewals, but occasionally just to check on them. And that's about capacity on our end to be able to expand our services. That's not mandated, but just something because we know they're age blind disabled. That's why they're on Medi-Cal, to be able to reach out to them. We do that with adult protective services, but that is something that we would hope to do. Otherwise, our senior centers, in terms of creating a social kind of directory where they have somebody who wants to be checked on whatever period number of times, and come up with that kind of volunteer service to be able to make that function, because it doesn't need to be government. I mean, we will do what we can do, but in reality, they'd rather have their neighbor calling than some women in some office or some office that they don't know. They probably would appreciate it better from their next door neighbor. And that's really would be the hope.
So helping them develop a network of people that would check on, that's excellent plan right there. I mean, that is a far better plan than asking the government to do it.
And I thought you might appreciate that. But the other thing I want to say, this is a great plan, and they have done a tremendous amount of work. And I really think it's the community's plan, right? But here's the thing, if you look to the last pages, it talks all about the action plan. Nobody's paid to do this work. So now the engagement actually has to be continued to see, now how do we actually do this? Because nobody's funded to do this. We have to stay together to make it actually happen.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.
If I may just
Supervisor Macaulay.
quick comments, I apologize, but want to get my in there as well. I want to pull back to Supervisor Wamhoff's comments around communication and making sure that we continue to let folks know about the programs that are currently available. I think, one thing that's important to recognize, it's almost like school. Each year, you've got a new batch of students here that we need to educate, and then you got to do it again next year. And so it's not good enough just to do it once. And I know we all struggle, to communicate to the public for a variety of reasons, changing outlets and those sorts of things. The way we absorb information is absolutely different than it was 15 years ago. But I would say that our senior centers are probably the most important line of communication to our senior populations. And this board has done a good job of supporting those centers in the past. I'm not sure if you all recognize that things like our senior meal lunch program are helping keeping our senior centers afloat. They are all teetering. I think, they could easily close up shop as a result of insufficient funding or support. And so I would really love to see staff come back at some point and let us know how we can better support our senior centers, how we can improve those lines of communication, because I think that's going to be paramount in carrying this forward. And then lastly, I just want to commend Supervisor Poitras for being such a great example on how we can age with grace.
Thank you.
You know, it's, you can see the jealousy that's over here on the board, but I'll take it. That's okay.
Thank you. With that, we will open it up to public comment. Do we have any public comment? And I believe we have Charles online.
Hello, how are you all doing today?
Good morning.
Can you hear me good?
Yes.
So my name's Charles Brooke Allen. I go by Brooke. Everybody in Oakhurst knows me as Brooke. When I answer the phone and somebody says Charles, I know they don't know me. Because I'm very connected in my community. I'm the Yosemite Unified School Board president. I appreciate all you guys do on the board. I do know how much work it takes to sit on a board. I really like this 8 domains. I guess it's 6 domains of focusing on our community. We got to continue to build a healthy community and focus on these things. It's very important. I'm on a school board. I'm tasked with looking after growing our youth and making sure they're ready to join the community. I hear age friendly, and it's not very age friendly for our youth coming into the community. I'm wondering if there's any kind of work we're doing to assist young folks, maybe getting into housing and things like that. It seems like an ounce of prevention goes a lot farther on the front end than maybe waiting till they are unhoused individuals before they get some sort of assistance. I appreciate all you guys do, and that's all I've got.
Thank you for your comments, Brooke. Anyone else?
No more.
Okay, I will close public comment and bring it back to the board.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor McCully.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers. Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes
Thank
5-0.
you. Thank you. Thank you to the team.
And our senior center is the ultimate community resilience center. Is that, could we say that? Okay, it is.
Pictures.
You'd like a photo?
Yes.
Sure, let's come on down.
Can somebody help me down there?
I'll carry you, Rob.
As an opportunity.
It comes with number.
I know.
Wow.
You know what?
Daddy-o.
Tax collector.
Ba-da-dum. Yeah.
Item 6D.
Treasurer Tax Collector Department, discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with HomeAway.com, Inc. for the voluntary collection and remittance transient occupancy tax at a rate of 9%, and the Tourism Business Improvement District assessment at the rate of 2.5% in the unincorporated areas of Madera County, effective March 1st, 2025, and authorize the chair to sign.
Hello, good morning. Tracy Kennedy, your treasure tax collector here. And one thing I'm happy to report before we start is that my dad just turned 94 years old, and we had a birthday party for him. He's on his way to 95. He says he wants to make it to 1000. I said, well, okay, but I don't know. But and anyway, to Supervisor Rogers' item is that he gets a phone call every morning from the Sheriff's Department at 9 a.m. And they want him to press a number. And if he doesn't press it, they call again. And if they don't get a hold of him, then they start calling me. And then it's, all hands on deck for me. So,
Service.
Thank you.
yeah, so I don't know how he signed up, frankly. I don't know. But he waits for that call at 9 a.m. like it is, I don't know, the Beatles going to be on Ed Sullivan. I mean, he is waiting for that call. He really looks forward to it. So I always thank the sheriff for having that program wherever it came from. Okay, so anyway, what we have here before you today is I have Jackie, Jenny, and Kathy from my office. And we have put into play a voluntary collection agreement for VRBO, which is known as Home Away. We have a short PowerPoint for you to look at. And this doesn't cost us anything to get into. It's free to get into, except for all the work that we've done to get into it. And, yeah, it took a while. Sometimes they're kind of hard to find. I think it might be by design, frankly. But, we already have one with Airbnb, voluntary collection agreement. We get a lot of money from that. So we want to make sure we have everything in place to get as much as we can, and then we can sort it out. So anyway, this is Jackie Torres, my assistant.
Good morning, Jackie Torres, Assistant Treasurer Tax Collector, and we'll just go over a few of the quick insights and asking you guys to approve this short-term rental voluntary agreement with VRBO, known as Home Away. So right now in our online platform data, this is all the online platforms that we're able to see that includes both compliant and non-compliant. You can see Airbnb is the biggest host on there that has over 1,600 bookings right now. If you were to go on to Airbnb that are listed in Madera County, VRBO comes next in line with 973. There are some other online platforms that you can see are up and coming, but not as big. A lot of people know of bookings.com. Vacasa, HipCamp is another one that's coming up. So this includes what we kind of refer over to code enforcement as well to help us identify those operators that are not in compliant. And then this is what we currently have listed with Madera County. So currently Madera County has 1,189 operators registered to do business as short-term rentals and overnight stays within the county. 1,047 of those are currently listed as Airbnb operators. And per the 1,100, we have 680 that have reported to do business with VRBO. As you can see on the previous slide, there's over that amount. So there's definitely room for the county to identify those operators. But with this agreement, we will be collecting on all of those operators now because VRBO will be submitting those monies to the county. And as of June of last year, we had just over 1,100 operators. Today, we're close to that 1,200 mark. So I'm pretty sure by the end of the summer, we'll be getting to that 1,200, if not surpass that. And now we're available for any questions.
Any questions from the board?
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Thank you, Chair. It was a little unclear to me in the agreement when I read through our backup. Are they going to be providing us with like physical information around the address so that way we can reconcile and bring some of these folks into compliance? Because although they're paying taxes, which is important, it's also important that they're getting their annual checks, that they have their business license, that we have the fire marshal go out and ensure that they're in compliance. And as you both know, we have a series of regulations that we hope to bring before the board to help keep our community safe. And so I guess long rant there for a short question of, are they providing us with that physical information?
Unfortunately, no. So it's operating the same way VRBO is operating. There is current legislation, SB 346, that has been across several platforms, including the CACTAC Association. I believe Madera County admin was asked to either support or not support the legislation. And all taxpayers, tax collectors across the counties, of all counties in California, have submitted their either opposal or, their objection or support of it and what it is that we are requesting. So something as simple as identifying the listing ID or the assessment number can go such a long way for us and for the staff that's doing the legwork. As you saw, we have over 1,600 listed on Airbnb, but registered with the county, we have just over 1,000. So that is what we're currently.
Right. So that has been our, the enforcement and the investigative portion of this division has really grown. Okay. So we actually have a third party called Deckard, and they do a lot of research for us. We pay for it, and but it finds us people. And what else helps is the neighbors, of course, as you know. But this legislation that we recently supported, and so did you here. You sent a letter of support. SB 346 was for them to provide the parcel numbers, because then we can match our records, right? We can match our records with the owners, and we can match our records with what they're sending us. Absent that, we have a stack literally this high of ones that we haven't been able to quite identify who they are. So anyway, but so no, they don't. And we know they have that information because how else could they rent the house, the cabin? So we know they have it. They just are not too forthcoming in providing it. But maybe things will change with this legislation.
I certainly hope so. And I definitely thank you all for your work. I know you're tirelessly working to try to identify those folks that are out of compliance, and greatly appreciate your efforts. I think we've seen the fruits of that labor over the last several years with the number of registered vacation rentals in the county. Obviously, there's still more work to be done, and hopefully we can get a little support from the state.
Correct. Thank you.
Supervisor Wamhoff.
Me. Yeah.
Today.
I'm not going to say it, Rob.
Oh.
That is a big number of registered with the county versus listing on Airbnb. How much tax revenue are we talking about on average for your average Airbnb that the county's losing out on?
So they give us a check every quarter, right? So the check can be, and it comes from a place in Colorado, Arvana or something. Anyway, Joey sent Joel a copy of it every quarter. I can share it with you guys. It's easy. So we get a check from Airbnb for $800,000, maybe $1 million, maybe $900,000. And so, and then, what we would like is for them to, submit a big listing of everybody that it covered, but they don't do that. They just say, this is what it is. So, but I mean, it's a lot of money, and we don't want to not get it. So so they pay us. So they collect it. They collect the 9%, right? And they collect the 2.5%. They don't break it out. We got to do that too. So they don't break it out. They just send us a big old fat check, and then we divvy it up between us and the Yosemite Visitors Bureau. And we keep ours. We put theirs in a trust, and then at the end of the quarter, then we send them their money once we reconcile.
Is there any way to play hardball with these people as far as revoking these types of licenses for not providing this detailed information?
Well, what we do once we find out that there is, because we go to the homeowner, right? Because that's who's ultimately responsible. So as soon as we find that homeowner, then we tell them they're the ones that are on the hook here. You're on the hook. You need to set them, you need to pay us what you owe us, and you need to provide on your quarterly return who's collecting what for you. And so they've been pretty good. They've been pretty good. We have a few outliers, and we have a few ones that we may refer to code enforcement. I would say maybe a couple hundred is all, which I know it sounds like a lot, but still a couple hundred is not that many when you're dealing with so many. Because don't forget, we do quarterly returns. So if we have 1,000, if they did 1,000, that would mean that would be 4,000 years, 1,000 different returns every 3 months. That's a lot of paperwork. And the returns, you can see them online. You can go on our online and you can see what a transient occupancy online quarterly return looks like. They're pretty simple. They're very simple. I don't know about hardball. I think that's part of this legislation that the state finally is going to have to get involved because, I mean, you have gigantic cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco that haven't done any hardball measures. Because I thought for sure out of one of those counties, a class action would come up, something would come up that we could all piggyback on, right? All of the smaller counties would piggyback on, but they've just kind of let it roll too. Maybe it's too much money to, and maybe they don't have the staff. I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly how much we want to play hardball, frankly.
You mentioned a 200 number, because what's registered versus what is listed is about 600. Can you go back to the 200 number? What were you referring to then?
Okay, so the 200 are the ones that have sent in a return that we haven't been able to match up to Airbnb.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So they just send in the return. They said it's collected by Airbnb. And so then we got to figure out how much and how many days, which is what that third-party platform Deckard. So if you go on that Deckard, which you couldn't, but we do, is that it will tell you actually what they're renting and how long they're renting it. So we have, a spy in the sky to find out what's going on. But it's very time consuming, as you can imagine,
I mean, Airbnb and VRBO, they have all of this detailed information all the way down to the penny, dates, everything. They just refuse to do it when that's.
Yeah, and they charge a lot of fees. If you've seen on the fees, if you've ever rented one, Airbnb will charge $300-400 host fee on top of another host fee. VRBO is the same.
Well, state legislation, they made them put their final price on their advertised listings, but they couldn't figure out how to help counties out or municipalities with providing them detailed information so they can reconcile where the funds are coming from. It's crazy.
Maybe if you get on a certain committee or something, we can help in that regard.
Maybe my colleague Rob can help in that aspect.
Just for the benefit of the public, though, I just want to make sure that everybody understands. So if they're renting through Airbnb or now VRBO, they are paying taxes and the county is collecting that, we hope. Is that correct?
Right.
Because they automatically collect those taxes when they're
right. Those
that,
platforms
right?
will automatically collect that amount from those people and they'll send it to us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Rogers.
Yeah, I want to commend you and your staff on the way you've adapted. This has been an evolving thing over the last so many years, and you've really covered the gauntlet there. This is a business. It's not, we're not trying to infringe on personal property rights. This is a different ball game when you enter into a business that affects your neighbors and affects the community, and you're collecting revenue as a result of that. So it's a direct result of operating business. When you're in business, you have to pay the dues on that, and I do all the time. I buy my county business license, whether I'm real active or lightly active. So it just something that goes with doing business, right?
Right. The business license is the cheapest part of the whole deal.
Yeah, exactly. And there was something
we have
else.
adapted. We have, I mean, and during COVID, people, because people were wanting money and they were selling their places and they didn't know if they wanted to keep a place up in the mountains or wherever it was. So they were selling them. And so a lot of people from out of town were buying them and immediately setting them up for short-term rentals. So because, I mean, during that time, remember, some people, because LA had locked down so hard and some other counties didn't.
Right.
So they would rent houses months at a time, weeks at a time in different counties.
Yeah, I heard that was going on. It's quite amazing. I'm wondering, we don't have an avenue to communicate with these people in general, except through you. You have an avenue there that could be utilized to stem some of the problems, maybe from a code enforcement side on that. I don't know how we would go about it, but you might want to brainstorm on how we might get the information on, let's say, noise ordinance, that kind of thing, to people who occupy these things.
Right, right. And as soon as we find them, we send them a packet, and so does Yosemite Visitors Bureau. So
There you go.
oh yeah, as soon as we find them, they get a packet, and it has all the info in them. You know, we try to set them up. We give them a number. We want them to go online.
Could we require them to post like noise ordinance information on their, like, yeah, I'm sure they have an information wall or a booklet for their visitors, because I know a lot of, I've done this myself before. So I'm sure they have this little booklet that tells you this and that about everything. So why not have the noise ordinance, the that kind of thing posted there?
That's right.
Yeah.
And funny, you should mention that. Here to respond is your everything, Matt
And Matt,
Tripper.
can you keep it short? I don't want to deviate too much from the item at hand.
Yeah, I will just thank you, Matt Treber, Development Services, and Jamie Bax here. We have a draft ordinance that it is floating out there to the public as well. Some members of the public have received that speaks to a number of these instances and issues that you guys have discussed here as well today. So
Great, thank you.
We hope to have that up here in the summer.
Sorry for the diversion, Madam Chairman.
I'm going to say, but I don't know if it was a secret.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open it up to public comment. Do we have any?
None online?
None online. I'll bring it back to the board.
Move to approve?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Warmhoff.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Item 6E.
Treasurer, Tax Collector Department, discussion and consideration of entering into an agreement with Smart Easy Pay, Inc. to provide an independent electronic system for qualified taxpayers to pay real property taxes through monthly installment payments at no cost to the county until June 30th, 2025, with an auto renewal for succession 1-year terms, and authorize the chair to sign.
Hello, item number 2. Easy Smart Pay. So several other counties already have this. And so what it allows the taxpayer to do with a small fee is to go ahead and sign up for this service. They have to pay this third party every month, whatever it's like if you had a mortgage, if you had a more impound account kind of a deal, or even like, if you did, remember they used to have like Christmas clubs, and you would put like $100 a month for Christmas. And then at the end of the, December, you would get your 1,200 or whatever it was, when you go buy Christmas presents. So anyway, so I've received a lot of phone calls that if they have their house paid off, there's no mortgage, and maybe they don't want to do the bookkeeping, but they want to make a payment to us. Well, we can't receive payments monthly. We don't have a place to put them. It would be a whole entire deal trying to bookkeep for everybody, and so we're not going to do that. So, but here comes Easy Smart Pay, endorsed by CSAC actually too, and they found a niche. So there's about 20 counties that already participate in it, and I'll let Jackie Torres, Assistant Treasurer Tax Collector, talk to you about the experience.
Good morning again. So Easy Smart Pay is a taxpayer experience. So we won't go over all the details, but just touch bases on a little bit of them. So currently, Easy Smart Pay is being offered in 28 counties throughout the state, and it's designed to help taxpayers split their annual property tax payments into manageable monthly installments, making it easier for them to meet their deadlines, and also guarantees more of on-time payments to the county to collect those tax revenues. A key thing to note is that Easy Smart Pay is not a lending service or a bank. They do not provide any lending services or the funds to the taxpayers. It is simply just a holding trust for the taxpayers to be able to manage monthly installments. A key thing we wanted to point out is that this past year we mailed out just over 62,000 current secure tax bills. 22 of those 1,000 do not have an impound account. So that means every year we're collecting 22,000 that do not have an impound account, where we are physically getting those checks. And remember, there's 2 installments, so some pay both by December 31st, and others wait to pay in December and April. Easy Smart Pay, it's Taxpayers make their monthly installments. There is a small fee if they want to use their credit cards. Or if they use their set up ACH checking account, it is free, just like e-checks are free with the county. They can do e-checks and it's free to use that and they save on the fee there. Signing up is quick, easy, and straightforward. Another benefiting thing that we heard from several counties is that taxpayers love when they have multiple properties in different cities or counties, they're able to see everything in one place. So if you own property in Santa Clara County, Madera County, Fresno County, and each of those counties use Easy Smart Pay, they're able to see one accounting record of all their properties, which makes it very easy for them, especially for some who have multiple properties or the larger families who have families spread out throughout the state. Again, they can make their payments by ACH, by credit card. ACH would be preferred just because there's no fee to them. Taxpayers are able to track their payment history. So rather than calling the county asking for payment history, when did I pay this? They can go online to their dashboard and see the payments that have been submitted. And then also Easy Smart Pay does provide key facts of how the county distributes the funds. So taxpayers are able to see exactly where those tax dollars are going for each county that they are registered with. And they make it easy for an online chat. They have a phone number and then an email address for support. So anyone who signs up has 3 different means to get in contact with Easy Smart Pay to assist for any questions or concerns that they might have. And now I'm available for any questions if.
Thank you for the presentation. I think I just want to add that I think the supervisors have been alluding all day about, sharing this information. So I hope you'll work with our public information team to, help the public become
Absolutely.
aware of this because it's a great service. Any questions from the board? I'll open it up to public comment.
Madam Chair, just have a question.
Supervisor Poitras, I apologize.
Very good, thank you. Tracy, on the item, it mentions providing independent electronic system for qualified taxpayers to pay real property taxes through monthly payments at no cost until to the county until June 30th. Now, is there a cost afterwards or after June 30th?
There's no cost. That's just the contract agreement of how Madera County is entering into the agreement with Easy Smart Pay. But the taxpayer will not pay a fee if they are choosing an ACH method. If they choose to use a credit card or debit card, then there is that transaction fee for choosing that form.
So it's pretty much the way it is right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
There's no cost to the county. Easy
Sure.
Smart Pay makes their money depending on who's using a credit card or debit card.
Okay.
And
Very-
e-checks are free. E-checks are free. Don't forget, e-checks are free. Get a receipt right then and there. Boom, boom.
I got it. I'm aware of that. That's what we do. Thank you.
Any public comment? Any online?
None online.
I'll bring it back to the board.
Move to approve?
Second?
Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
thank you both.
Thanks, Tracy.
Item 6F.
Community and Economic Development Department Planning Division, second reading to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 9.58 to Title 9 of the Madera County Code pertaining to noise regulation.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Jamie Bax, Community and Economic Development. Again, this is the second reading of the noise ordinance amendments. Some major changes that we are making are allowing for a time. We didn't have a time before, so from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. And then in addition, we are increasing our citation amounts. So we also can go out multiple times a day. It's not just the one time a day they turn their music back up and then we can't issue another citation. So it's going to allow for us to do that as well. And I'm available for any questions you might have.
Any questions, comments from the board?
Yeah, Madam Chair,
Supervisor Wamhaugh?
regarding the time, there's so much confusion out there amongst the public. And this is why I didn't even like the time to begin with, just because people think that they can blast all their music and as long as it's off by 10, they're fine, which is not the case, correct? Can you please clarify for the public?
Absolutely, yes. I'm happy to clarify for that. They still have to meet the criteria of the ordinance in regards to decibels. So even though there is a time limit there, if they're in violation of the code, they're in violation of the code. Just like if anybody were to request an outdoor event permit, Doesn't mean that they can make all the noise they want, park anywhere they want. They still have to comply with the code. So you're absolutely correct there.
So what does the time do in essence? What does the time specification in this policy do?
The time is to hope to grab the attention of the public to say, hey, we do have a time. You need to turn your music down, but they really need to comply 24 hours a day.
Okay,
Anyone else?
thank you.
I'll open it up for public comment. Do we have anyone online as we wait?
None online.
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome. Good morning.
Y'all. I'm Melissa Sloan. I'm sure y'all are hard of seeing me because I really need to go to work. Again, please, when you guys do this ordinance, I need some help. This is out of hand. This is ridiculous where we live. I know, Bobby, you've been great to meet with us. Jordan, I know you're asking questions that I really appreciate, and this is not to be the Karen of the neighborhood. It's just, we have a really terrible way of living with all this noise. My neighbors can't be here. Most of them, some of them are out of town looking for new places to live. Most of the people's trying to get out of that area because it's just overrun with just absolute chaos out there. So I don't want to move. Not yet. I'm not gonna say never, but at this moment, I don't want to move. My job's here. But please, when you place this and you guys put this ordinance ahead of you guys and whatever we put in place, make it to where it sticks because they don't respect the law enforcement. As you guys look through the notes and see the things on Facebook, they just don't respect it. So please make it pretty stiff. So this isn't just something you're going to say, go get the money. I mean, that's money for our county. Make them fear this because I need help. I want to be able to relax at my home and enjoy it. So I'm coming to you. That's all I can do. And please, when you place a vote, just remember this, we got to do something. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Ms. Sloan. Anyone else?
None online.
I'll close public comment and bring it back to the board.
Move to approve?
Second?
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you for getting this done.
Item 6G.
County Administration Department, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution authorizing the Chief Administrative Officer or his designee to sign all necessary agreements to facilitate a regional application for broadband equity access and deployment application for grant funds.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Joel Begay, County Administrative Office. The item before you today is to request but before I begin, we did have an amended resolution that was distributed to the board, and there's items in the public. The amendment is to add a second grant requested to be part of the 5-county regional, and that would be the California Digital Equity Capacity Grant. So that was added. I do want to kind of go over what the proposal is. So we apologize for the timing of this. We have been in discussions within the 5-county region, which includes Merced, Madera, Fresno, Kings, and Tulare, about a regional approach on applying for broadband last mile projects. And as we are having those discussions, which was actually related to one of these grants, the Digital Equity Grant, a bigger grant, which pays for larger infrastructure project, which is BEAD, the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Grant, which is similar to the federal funding account grants, but it is not by county allocation, got released, and the timing and the deadlines for it didn't facilitate us to do a proper, negotiate a proper MOU, bring it to the board, the resolution. So we kind of had to cram and request this resolution to delegate the CAO to finalize and negotiate the points of that 5-county MOU that we could collaborate on a 5-county regional application. Now I'm going to go over some of the points of why we recommend a regional approach. Unlike the FFA grant, like we mentioned, the BEAD program does not allocate these funds by region or project area. So the FFA, they had a $60 million allotment in Madera County where the ISPs can apply for infrastructure projects. I believe AT&T applied and got awarded $22 million in Madera County. BEAD does not identify that. It's a highly competitive, it's going to be a highly competitive process. And the 5 counties felt that if we apply as a 5 contiguous regional, we have our common corridor, Highway 99, and to propose projects that benefit all 5 that meet the criteria, it would be a more competitive. The second point of why we're recommending to join is, if you recall, we did a broadband strategic plan in 2023. One of the recommendations there was to work with a consultant or hire a broadband coordinator to work with ISPs and then do a collaborative effort to apply for these types of grants. As you know, we don't have a consultant on board. The other 4 counties do, and that's Tone Consulting Group. Julie Tone is in the audience today. And I apologize, I will not be inviting her to speak because we don't have a contractual agreement right now, and I don't want to put her in a bad spot. But anyway, so these are just some of the things that that we feel would benefit Madera County residents to apply as a 5-county region. Now, Tone Consulting did do a preliminary assessment of what priority areas would make the most sense to align with BEAD. So I kind of want to go over, we cross-referenced that with our strategic plan. These 5 areas are in the 5 priority area, is within the priority areas of our own strategic plan. It's distributed between 3 districts, and I'll explain why. It's the community of Trigo in District 1, Iragosa in District 2, Dairyland in District 2, area west of Brenda in District 2, and area west of Hensley Lake in District 5. Now, a lot of these areas are either most underserved or unserved, or in the new definitions in BEAD is actually considered unserved. District 3 and 4 are largely City of Madera. So there is really broadband access that exists already in large swaths. So they didn't quite align, but these are the 5 priority areas that we're recommending to work with the 5-county regional. And as I mentioned last week too, because of the timing, Fresno County, being the lead agency, did release an RFP to solicit partnership with ISPs to serve all 5 county regions. So with that RFP, the 5 counties are going to get together and figure out what's the right mix of projects that we would put together in the regional application that hits equally, proportionately the priority areas established by the 5 counties, and then B, probably more importantly, has a higher competitive chance of getting funded. I do want to add, though, that if your board does support and approve the resolution to direct staff to participate in this 5-county regional, we will be bringing back a recommendation to have an agreement with Tone Consulting Group so that all 5 counties are working with one consultant. Because of the timing of pre-qualification, what administration might have to do is do a purchasing agent agreement in the interim so that they can adequately represent us in the pre-qualification. But we will be bringing back a full board agreement for your board to consider approval if it, like I said, once that, losing the words, once the process necessitates that. I think I'm going to end our comments right now, but we are available for any questions. Again, I apologize. We don't have a formal presentation today, but happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Joel. Any questions from the board?
No
Supervisor
question, just,
Laptop.
go ahead. Yeah.
So are you needing approval today for a PAA?
No, Supervisor, I just wanted to mention that the approval we're requesting today is approval of the resolution, which authorizes the county administrative officer to sign on your behalf a 5-county MOU. So that way we have grounds to cooperate on a single regional application for the BEAD funding and also the California Digital Equity Grant funds. I did want to mention the PAA because we might have to approve a PAA if the timing of the pre-qualification requires Tone to represent Madera County as one of the 5, and we don't have an active agreement with them. But since we have never had an agreement with Tone, it does meet the criteria of the PAA. We just don't like doing that because this should be a board agreement. But the pre-qualification process is tomorrow. So if they need to represent us in that discussion, we might have to do a PAA in the interim.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Rogers.
Yeah, we've worked with Julie before, so she's very apt. Great prowess in the broadband industry. I was just going to mention that something occurred to me this morning that had really hit my bell until it was mentioned in the earlier discussions with DSS about aged population and services. And it occurred to me that a lot of people without access to broadband are in peril in some ways in that regard. So it's really an important component for people, with to be able to stay connected and for those emergency services be available to them. So that's an aspect I hadn't thought of.
And that's an excellent point. I'm sorry, Supervisor.
Yeah, and I'm fully supportive of this. And whenever you're ready, I can deliver a motion.
Do you want to respond, Joel?
Yeah, I do want to add, so that's an excellent point because I forgot to mention that in the unserved areas in our strategic plan, it has the highest average age of the residents. I believe it's 54. Within the city, with the cities of Madera and Chowchilla, the average age are in the high 30s. But when you go into these unserved and
Rural
underserved,
areas,
the average age is 54. So it does track with the.
I was thinking that too, because I know a lot of farmers out there. The average age of the average farmer is around 70, so it's got to average out to somewhere near there.
Supervisor McCauley.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I think in the backup you referenced that the cost of the PAA would be covered by the grant if we're successful. Is that right?
That's correct. So if there is a grant awarded, the consultant application cost is intended to be covered because it is reimbursable. And however, in the event that there is no grant awarded in any of the 5 counties, our maximum exposure is $7,800, and it's split by population in the 5 counties. With us being the second smallest in population, we get second smallest allotment of that risk.
Perfect. Love the second smallest allotment of risk, but maybe like the third or fourth allotment in funds.
Well, that's what we're hoping for, but yeah.
So, and I just want to compliment you on use of the previous work that we've done through the LAPTA study and referencing that. So I don't want the public to feel that we're rushing into this blind. We've done a lot of preliminary work to get to this point. So commend you and admin for your work.
Thanks, Supervisor. We lean heavily on that strategic plan.
Given the expeditious timing of this, are you asking for us to grant your powers to enter into a PA?
Supervisor, that is the approval of the resolution will authorize the CEO or his designee to approve any necessary agreements, MOUs, to facilitate that 5 county region application.
Perfect.
Okay, I will open it up to public comment.
None online.
None online. Close public comment, bring it back to the board. I believe we have a motion.
Madam Chair, I just want to make sure that motion is to approve the updated resolution that was distributed to the board and made available to the public.
Yes.
not in
Thank
the
you for
backup.
that clarification. Is
Thank
that,
you. Yes.
and we have a second with Supervisor Wamhoff, I believe.
Second with the updated resolution.
Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote
you,
passes
board.
5-0.
Thank you very much. Item 6H.
County Administration Department, General Services Division, Building and Ground Maintenance Budget Adjustment, discussion and consideration of approval of transfer of appropriations number 24-01, 24-101 in the amount of $40,000 derived from ground maintenance permanent salaries to maintenance equipment for fiscal year 2024-2025. Discussion and consideration of approval of receipt of unanticipated revenue number 24-094 in the amount of $569,000 derived from building maintenance
insurance reimbursement building and improvement for fiscal year 2024-2025. 4 votes are required. Discussion and consideration of approval of receipt of unanticipated revenue number 24-095 in the amount of $50,000 derived from general fund balance to building maintenance building and improvements for fiscal year 2024-2025. 4 votes are required.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. Joel Begay again, General Services. We have 3 recommended actions today, and I kind of want to go over quickly. The first is a transfer of salary savings from the grounds maintenance budget to below to the service and supplies line. And it's really to offset unforeseen costs that have occurred so far during the year. I kind of want to highlight the top 3 there is a broken pipe in our courthouse park. So we had to make repairs there. And once you dug it, it did require going a little further. So that's about $8,000. We did some fast landscaping work in Oakhurst Government Center, and we used the grounds maintenance crews for there. So the cost of the supplies there was about $8,000 as well. And then $7,000 was for a riding lawnmower that unexpectedly broke during the year. So we had to replace those so we can continue to provide services. We don't take shift from salary savings lightly, but we do have a lean budget with grounds maintenance. So if we have a lot of these things pop up, we do hold vacancies so that we can just shift from the top line to the bottom line. So instead of asking for additional dollars. The second and third recommended actions are bigger ticket items, and it's related to the internal flood that we had over the holidays here in the government center. It is covered by insurance other than the $50,000 deductible from our property insurance, which has to come from the general fund. Initially, it would be billed as part of the cost plan, and we get some reimbursement of it. However, because it is a government center, so a lot of the departments here are already non-subvented. However, some will get hit to roads and special districts by just proportion. That concludes our presentation on this item. We're available for any questions.
Any questions, comments from the board?
I have a question.
Supervisor Wama.
Is there any percentage of maintenance or groundskeeping or things that do get billed for subvented departments if they occupy those buildings? Is maintenance and groundskeeping included in the billing of those subvented departments?
Yes, they are, Supervisor. So they run through the cost plan. It just doesn't get reflected in their budget, but it goes to the general fund as revenue each year. There's a 2-year delay. So we're in a 2-year delay phase. So the reimbursements we get from subventeds for general services work that was this year's work that was done from 2 years ago. And it's a formula. Some are square footage based, some are coded time based. Roughly 2/3 of the work of general services is subvented at one point because they do hold the largest swaths of county facilities.
So when we're talking about, equipment like a lawnmower or whatever,
2/3 of that would be reimbursed eventually.
Got it. Thank you.
In response to the budget crises that we're experiencing today, there'll be forthcoming recommendations to advance journal those estimates so that we're getting it real time. Because there is a process that we're just working with the auditor's office and the cost plan folks to do it properly. IT department does that already. There has always been an intent to phase it in. However, the first year you phase it in, your departments are paying double, right? Because they're paying from 2 years ago through the cost plan, and then now we're billing them this year. But it takes 2 years for subvented departments to normalize again on the flow. So when we switched over IT, when we switched over HR to that model, you can general services is the last one to switch over. So that way, subvented departments didn't get a 1 year or 2 year shock of exceeding costs. But general services is the next wave, and that's going to be one of our recommendations to bring that real reimbursement real time.
Thank you.
That what we call A80?
A87, Supervisor.
A87, yeah. I couldn't remember that.
And Supervisor Macaulay.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just a quick question, Joel. And so when we're looking at, how we can fund these different shortcomings or unforeseen issues that have come up, did we look at other funding sources outside the general fund? Have we thought about using like impact fees for some of these costs, or is that impossible? Just
It's not impossible. We do look at it creatively, right? But obviously with impact fees, you have to have the nexus to, is it an impact of the new development? If you're spending money on strictly a like for like repair, it's hard to make that justification. But I'm going to use an example because this is a real example we're having with animal shelter. We're going to install cameras in the animal shelter. They have never had cameras. It's a functionality, but because of the volume that they're receiving, it necessitates. That's a discussion we're having. Can general government impact fee pay for that? Because it is expanding their capabilities right now. So that's the fine line that we kind of straddle there.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I will open it up to public comment.
None online.
I'll close public comment, bring it back to the board.
Please move to approve items 1 through 3.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thanks, Supervisor.
I didn't get to say it, but I for one appreciate the way you're handling making those nexus.
Thank you. Item 6I.
Human Resources Department, discussion and consideration of approval to set the salary range for traffic control maintenance supervisor at range 15 on the represented salary chart, $65,873.95 through $81,016.65 annually as recommended by the Civil Service Commission.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Sabrina Mendez, Department of Human Resources. During the implementation of the class and comp study, the road worker and traffic control maintenance series were aligned to be at the same salary ranges. However, the traffic sign supervisor was not, and which resulted in a lower salary range resulting in a lower salary range than the road supervisor. Additionally, the job title did not accurately reflect the position supervised, and to resolve this, Human Resources proposed changing the title to Traffic Control Maintenance Supervisor and increasing the salary range from 14 to 15 to align it with the road supervisor classification. The Civil Service Commission took action to adopt the revision to the job description on February 18th, 2025, and the salary recommendation is before you for your review and consideration.
Any questions from the board? Public comment on this?
None online.
Bring it back to the board.
Move for approval?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes. Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item 6J.
Human Resources Department, discussion is consideration of approval to set the salary range for Administrative Services Manager at range 23 in the unrepresented salary chart, $100,246.02 through $123,289.96 annually as recommended by Civil Service Commission.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to ask for public comment on this item. No public comment.
None online.
Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Item 6K.
Human Resources Department, Office of Information Technology, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution providing Deputy Chief Information Officers Brian Rohde with supplemental pay for duties effective February 1st, 2025.
Yes, good morning again. The county currently lacks a Chief Information Security Officer, also known as the CISO, job classification to address crucial duties such as overseeing a county-wide security program, managing cyber risks, and ensuring compliance with security regulations. This gap has led to Deputy CIO Brian Rohde absorbing these CISO responsibilities along with his current deputy duties. Human Resources is currently developing a CISO job classification, but in the interim, it is requested that Mr. Rohde be granted supplemental pay for these additional duties performed. The supplemental pay would continue until the job classification is created, a recruitment conducted, and the position permanently filled. And I'm available for any questions, as well as Tanya Say, our Chief Information Officer.
Any questions, comments from the board?
Yes, just for the record, what is the supplemental pay for folks out there?
The supplemental pay is requested to be at 10%, and this is to compensate for additional duties performed that are beyond his current classification of the deputy and that fall in line closer to a CISO or the Chief Information Security Officer. So the position is needed to comply with
It's, I was just asking what the percentage
the
was.
percentage, okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm just curious, what have we been doing previously? Has he been doing these duties for the last year? I mean, I would assume that we've been, fulfilling, obligations or responsibilities around maintaining our information and our security, but I'm just curious, what have we been doing up until this point?
Yeah, I can speak to that, and of course, Tanya can chime in and expand, but it is my understanding that it has been a progression, so I don't believe that it was just an immediate, loading of additional duties all at once, but it was a progression as new regulations came in. And of course, he has more detailed information.
Good morning, Tanya Say, Chief Information Officer. Sabrina is correct. As the years have gone on, this started back in 2015, and every year we just keep adding more and more duties based on security requirements.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll open it up to public comment.
None online.
Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor McCully.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
I think we're very fortunate to have Brian, by the way, and Tanya at the helm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Item
you.
6L.
Public Works Department Maintenance and Operation Division. Discussion regarding Madera County Public Works being found uncompliant with the Public Contract Code Section 22032A by the California Uniform Construction Cost Accounting Commission.
Dominic. Push the button.
Oh,
Thank
there you
you.
go. Works much better. Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chairwoman, members of the board. Dominic Tyberski, Madera County Public Works Director. I am before you this morning to discuss a recent challenge brought by the Construction Industry Force Account Council, CFAC, in regards to public works paving operations. To give a little background, agencies within the Uniform Cost Accounting Act, which we are as of January 2000, are bound by the Act's rules and regulations. One such is AB 720, which is an amendment to the Public Contract Code and went into effect on January 1st of 2013, limiting force account work to $60,000 or less. That has since been raised to $75,000, and it's exclusive to construction projects, as in maintenance is excluded, so we can do that all day, every day. It's really limited to overlays of 1 inch or more. So, excuse me, prior to this, a board of supervisors or a county road commissioner was not prohibited from utilizing alternative procedures governing county highway contracts. The county is well aware of this constraint and operates accordingly within its bounds. The challenge brought by CFAC was the use of county crews and equipment to place a 2.5-inch overlay on Road 36.5 near State Route 145. That was performed in June of 2020. The road and the funds utilized for this overlay are part of Maintenance District 10, also known as MD 10. And the department utilized force account under the belief that the districts collectively had not opted into the Uniform Cost Accounting Act and therefore was not bound by its rules and regulations. We have since found out that the districts were opted in by the board some 25 years ago, January of 2000. So the CFAC challenge was heard at the January 10th California Uniform Construction Cost Accounting Commission meeting, which did report out on January 27th that Madera was not in compliance with PCC Public Contract Code Section 22032A, which states construction projects of $60,000, again, now raised to $75,000,
or less may be performed by force account, meaning if it's more than that, the requirement is to contract it out. Also pursuant to PCC section 22044C, the department is required to notify its governing body of the commission's finding within 60 calendar days, which brings me before you here today. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the difficulty this creates in providing service to the constituents of the county. Quite frankly, the law is designed to take work from the public sector and give it to the private sector. Additional cost results in this action because, as you know, there's profit margins that are built into all construction contracts, usually a minimum of 15%. Additionally, in order to contract this out, the department is required to put together plans, specifications, go through the bidding process. We also have to either employ or hire. I'm losing my train of thought. Inspectors to make sure the work is done properly and to our standards. Unit costs of private contractors are also typically higher, again, based on the profit and the overhead requirements. So I will say this is a win for private industry. However, it is a loss for the taxpayer, and it will result in higher costs to provide the services. And it will take longer to get these roads paved because we certainly do want to be in compliance. And again, just to reiterate, we believe that we were because we were operating in a special district. We've since found out that is not the case, and so we will follow the law accordingly.
I'll open it up to the board for comments or questions. Supervisor Rogers.
Yeah, I never thought I'd find myself saying this as a general contractor and an advocate for private industry. I totally agree with you. This law and this law is not in the best interest of the public. It allows for just a terrible loss of ability to take care of our roads in an adequate way. Previous to this law, we could pave. We had our men and pavers working all day long doing that very thing, accomplishing what we could do at a third of the cost of putting it out to bid. When you kick a prevailing wage in there and all of those other things that are added, and like you said, it's for profit. We are not for profit. We are for the public. So it changes everything. And I'm really just extremely disappointed that this is the law of California.
Thank you. Supervisor Wamhoff.
I know you said we opted in 25 years ago. Is there a way to opt out?
There is a way to opt out, and I might defer to counsel on some of the consequences, but as we looked into it, that was one of the first things we did. And it's at this point, because the laws have changed significantly, it doesn't put us in an advantage. It actually makes things worse for us. And I can get you the specifics.
Yeah, this is just so disappointing. And, I know we have someone for public comment on this item who spoke in the beginning, but this is an absolute loss for the taxpayers of this county. These people have lobbied our state legislature to get these bills in that make it higher costs for our own taxpayers to do simple things like an overlay. These scumbags are ruining and eroding our tax base, our precious general fund dollars, all at the expense so the private contractors can get funds. We can do it way cheaper, we can do it way faster, yet these scumbags come in and lobby the state legislature to get these laws passed that we can't do basic things in our county, like repaving a road that needs to get done. Instead of we need to pay 3 times as much for that same strip of road. This is the crap that pisses me off, pisses everybody else off, and this is the stuff that needs to change. And I don't know what we can do other than make our own lobbying efforts. I can't wait to hear this woman's comments again, if she's even going to speak up. But it's scumbags like this that make it so hard, to spend our precious tax dollars wisely. And we can't provide the benefits that our residents deserve and pay for because of laws like this and people like this going out and taking pictures of our people paving roads. I can't wait to hear her comment. I hope she's still on so I can hear it. She's not on? Oh, too bad.
She's on. She has not risen her hand.
Anyone else? At this time, I will open it up to public comment. Do we have any public comment in the audience? Do we have any public comment online?
Go ahead, Rachel.
You have 3 minutes.
It's Raquel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon again, Chair, Madam Chair, and members of the board. I'm Raquel White, Central Regional Compliance Manager for the Construction Industry Force Account Council, CFAC. CFAC is committed to ensuring public agencies comply with the California Public Contract Code, which protects fair bidding opportunities and prevents the misuse of public funds. Madera County has been a member of the Act for 25 years, making it subject to the 75,000 force account limit. At the time of this violation, it was 60,000 to self-perform work. However, on January 10th, 2025, the California Uniform Construction Cost Accounting Commission unanimously found the county violated Public Contract Code Section 22032A by exceeding the limit. The violation undermines fair competition and transparency. Contracting laws exist to ensure a level playing field for all contractors and safeguard public funds. Non-compliance creates unfair advantages, discourages local businesses, and exposes the county to legal issues that could be avoided with proper cost accounting procedures. It also is important to note that the county oversees multiple maintenance districts, all which are subject to CUCA regulations and must adhere to the same force account limits. Ensuring compliance across all county managed entities is critical to maintaining consistency, integrity, and public confidence in county's contracting practices. To prevent future violations, we urge the county to implement proactive cost evaluations before self-performing work. CFAC stands ready to assist by providing guidance, training, and resources to support full compliance. Additionally, that work can be done. It just has to be declared. And as far as the scumbag comment, I would rather hold my thoughts on that one. But thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for your comments, Raquel. Anyone else? I will now close public comment. And unless there's any further comments, this is just a presentation item. We will close the item. Thank you, Dominic.
I appreciate my colleagues' enthusiasm on that. I will re-echo the scumbag sentiment on that. I feel like that what you just said is fraught with lies. And I'm a private contractor. I have no skin in that game other than the taxpayer. So just understand, I'm going to work as hard as I can to get that law undone.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you, Dominic. We will move on to pending legislation, item 7A.
County Administration Department discussion and consideration to approve a letter of support for SB 239, which would remove barriers to entry for appointed and elected office, allowing members of non-decision-making legislative bodies to participate in two-way virtual teleconferencing without posting their remote meeting location.
Madam Chair, members of the board, the CAO passed along some comments to provide to you regarding this request for support and sending of this letter. It essentially is promoting an amendment to the Brown Act to allow greater flexibility for remote attendance for non-decision-making boards. And part of the purpose is the recruitment and the retaining of members to serve on advisory bodies can be difficult, and there are some challenges. And so this would promote an amendment to allow greater flexibilities for these types of boards. To answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, just a quick comment, Chair. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys bringing this forward. And I'll just throw out an example. With our Transportation Advisory Board, we have a representative there who is on the board to represent disabled folks. He himself is disabled, is unable to drive because he's got poor eyesight. And he's forced to find transportation down at the meeting. So this is just, I think, a common sense solution. It's an exception that needs to be made so that way we can, encourage participation from, every corner of the county. So thank you.
Anyone else? I'll open it up to public comment.
None online.
Bring it back to the board.
I'll second.
First and a second, roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next item is supervisor and staff reports. I'll start with Supervisor Rogers.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Supervisor McCauley.
Thank you, Chair. We had a great community meeting last night with our contractors up in the eastern portion of the county. They are looking to organize and create a builders and contractors association. So great to see so many people. I think there was 25 to 30 different business owners there. So I'm excited to see how the county can better support them, work with them to ensure that, what we're doing internally here at the county doesn't prevent them from doing their jobs. I think we just had a lively discussion about how government can sometimes get in the way. And so it's good to have those discussions about how we can reverse that course and facilitate good business. So I also want to thank Matt Schreiber for taking time out of his evening to come up the hill and listen in to those contractors and hopefully put some of those words to action. So thanks again, Matt.
Thank you. Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Nothing to report.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes, last week I had an opportunity to join, I guess, probably another 14 of our elected colleagues from the San Joaquin Valley we joined together as the San Joaquin Regional Policy Council to advocate for transportation funding and other initiatives that are common goals for us in the Valley. We're joined by the Air Pollution Control District and the Rail JPA. My speaking points are on the gas tax replacement, the need to move forward on it rather than continue to languish and see our gas tax revenue decrease rapidly and have our roads fall into further disrepair statewide, as well as seeking reform for SB 743, that's VMT law that the state has finally acknowledged that the study that was initially put together really did not have rural areas in mind. It was more metropolitan and urban areas. And so there's now a new study that's moving forward, but we want to make sure that CARB does not move forward and enact those laws prematurely before this new study is picked out. We talk about needing 2.5 million more units, housing units, and this VMT law directly contradicts that or challenges that need to move forward with housing. It actually stalls housing, and but that's our state of work. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your leadership in that, Rob. We really appreciate it. The CAO's office.
Nothing to report, Chair.
County Council.
No report, Madam Chair.
And Clerk of the Board.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
I see staff stepping up.
Thank you, Chair. Matt Schreiber, Development Services. I just wanted to provide a brief update to the board on our State Route 41 project and specifically on the right-of-way acquisitions. You may recall the board adopted a resolution of necessity last week on those properties. Since that time, I can report that we have 7 signed agreements with property owners out of 15 total, and 5 verbal agreements that we're just finalizing and anticipate getting signatures on those, leaving a grand total of 3 out of that 15 remaining. We did file 1 suit on an occupied parcel, but we are meeting with that individual this week and have had constant communication with them. So we do anticipate and hope that that's a quick resolve. So we've had a lot of good progress in the last week on getting that right away locked up for 41. So just wanted to provide that update.
Thank you very much. At this time, we will convene into closed session, but I'll ask County Council to read the items into the record.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On your agenda today is conference with your labor negotiators, your agency designated representative are Joel Begay, Assistant County Administrative Officer, Shanika Dixon, your Director of Human Resources, and Sabrina Mendez, your Human Resources Manager. Under discussion, under Government Code Section 54957 is all units, all employee organizations, and unrepresented employees, all classifications, but not elected officials. There are two existing litigation matters under Government Code Section 54956.9 subsection D1. The names of the cases are Valley Groundwater Coalition versus Madera County and Cardoza with several other petitioners versus the County of Madera Sustainability Agency and the Madera County Superior Court cases are listed on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now convene into closed session.
Madam Chair, I don't know if you asked for public comment on
Oh, I
closed
apologize.
session.
Do we have any public comment on closed session? Do we have any online, Tatiana? None online? Now we will convene it. Thank you very much. We're good? Okay, thank you. County Council, do we have anything to report out of closed session? Nope, nope, nope. Once.
Madam Chair, there's no reportable action from your closed session. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we stand adjourned. Next meeting is April 1st. No joke.